Welcome everyone to even more screams.
What? Even more?
There's not enough screams in the day, Timmy. There's always room for more screams after midnight. Or is this the morning edition? Is this that we've been up all night and it's like you know how sometimes we do a late night version of a morning talk show? This is the opposite. Yes. We're doing a morning version of a late night show.
Sounds about right.
Yes, what is this, you may ask? This is a new perk for our patrons, which is basically just like an extra shorter addition to streams after midnight. We've got a specific thing we're going to do in this episode, but typically this might be like a monthly check-in where we just sort of like tell each other about what horror movies we've seen at random that weren't for the show. If there's big breaking news that seems worthy of, like, you know, a discussion, whether it be 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, we'll record that. We'll put it on Patreon. Now, this first one we're actually going to put out for everyone. Patrons will get it first, but we'll put it out for everyone after about a week. But then from then on, this is going to be a new perk for Patreon, on top of the return of the bonus episodes once per month. Now, this all sounds great. Obviously, we're not back to weekly regular episodes yet. That'll come a bit later. But this is us, ramping up a little bit. So you get an episode about every other week. And there's these new things on Patreon. And
I mean, honestly, if you're on Patreon, if you're a patron on Patreon, then, yes. I mean, you'll basically be getting an episode a week. You'll have a movie review, then these kind of smaller, even more screams, bullshit around episodes. And then, another movie episode and then a bonus episode. So, I mean, unless you're one of those weird people that, gets 5 weeks in a month, then you'll mostly be having something every week.
If you're one of those weird people who's a patron on, like, Kickstarter or something, like, why would you be on another website? You're a patron. You don't go to other websites, how dare you? No, the only caveat I would say to what you just said is that I am not convinced that they're going to neatly work so that they fill in the weeks that we don't have an episode.
Fair.
I don't know if I'm convinced that it's going to be that perfectly sparsed out, but or parsed out.
If you're the kind of loser that needs to hear us every week, then just save an episode for next week, and then don't binge everything at once. I mean, I shouldn't be having to tell people this. I shouldn't be having to hold people's hands and explain to them, how to conserve their entertainment. This is what's wrong with you kids today: is everything is binge. Give it to me now. I want it now. Oh, please, Mommy, can I have it now? Oh, thank you. Oh, I ate my lolly and my turkey. Oh, now I have nothing to eat. Like, just you got to learn to save it. Conservation. That's why the planet's dying. But anyway, continue.
And you can get more of this for $1 per month over at patreon.com/SmellFuzzTV. So yes, what are we doing today on the first ever Even More Screams? Well, we actually just have an article up here from Bloody Disgusting, a very notable horror website. And they have got an article here called 31 Horror Movies We Can't Wait to See in 2022. And given that it is the first week of January, we thought maybe we'll look ahead, see what's coming out, and we will perhaps agree or disagree with the notion that, I mean, I suppose we can't disagree that they want to see them.
Yeah, right.
but I can disagree that they are must-sees, I guess, if that's how you want to phrase it.
That's such a weird way to explain it. We're just going to go through the upcoming movies and say if we want to see them or not.
I mean, that doesn't make it sound exciting, Timmy. I'm trying to add a bit of pizzazz. I'm trying to add a bit a character to it. But to make
These are going to be our must screams.
Oh, there you go. Must screams. I like it.
In fact, this might be like a recurring segment. Like maybe like at the start of every year, we'll have our must scream list.
Oh, sure. I was going to... Joe, you said maybe a recurring segment. I'm like, we can't do this every month, Tim. Like, what? You kind of need to wait a year for a new year of movies to like sort of like pile up. So I'm glad you said next year. I'm glad you phrased it though.
Yes. Come
on. So yes, to make this a bit more fun, just to give us a little bit of a spice to it, is that we're each going to have as we go through this list, which are in order of release, but then there's like half the list which don't have dates yet, so they're just at the end.
TBD.
There's 31 movies here, and we're each going to have
just like a certain ice cream shop I know.
Is Baskin and Robbins 31 flavors?
It is. Yep.
After all this time, they're still on 31.
Yeah. Well, they cycle them in and out, I believe.
Oh, okay. Because the Oreo cookies, Tim, I don't know if you've noticed this, but they have been like multiplying in their flavor numbers like every month for the last 10 years.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's like extremely horror related, but we honestly could do an episode about the Oreos and how they've gotten out of control.
They're multiplying like gremlins or something. So yes, so we're just going to have 3 must screams, and we can't, like, once we've used our 3, we can't use any more. So it's a badge of honor, but to be really spicy, we each have 1. I haven't thought of a name for this. I'm going to call it the Brahms Award, which is the movie that we want to set a light on fire and not see under any circumstance. Admittedly, we're probably going to, because reviewing bad movies is part and parcel of what we do, but
I mean, I feel like it's confusing though, because Brahms is a good movie. I think we should call it The Wicker Man, because that's something that you want to set on fire.
Oh, okay. Well, I wanted to say the Nuke It from Orbit, but that's a sci-fi reference more than it's a horror reference, so I felt a bit...
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there an even more ace?
There is not an even more ace at the time of recording.
Good.
No.
And if Tara tries to suggest it, then we'll know that she's just copying me.
I wouldn't call it even more ace anyway. I would shake up the title a bit, like further analysis or something like that to go with the name.
Oh, it's so different.
Well, it's a atomic cinema experiment. I'd make it a sciencey sounding like thing. Amendum number 1 or something. I don't know. Anyway,
that's pretty cool.
It's not happening, but I agree it's pretty cool. So that's what we're going to do today. So buckle in. We're going to look through what's coming up this year, and yes. So here we go. So up first on this list. On January 14th, we have the release of Scream. Now,
after midnight?
Now, you may be thinking, Scream, but they're re-releasing Scream? No. This is Scream 5. They're just being weird and refusing to put a 5 on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very annoying.
It is rather irritating, yes.
Yeah, literally every other Scream movie has had well, I guess except for the very first one. But every other sequel has had a number on it. So, of course, why would you continue doing that?
Because you want to trick people into thinking it's not a sequel, but at the same time, you want everyone who cares about Scream as a franchise to know it's the next one and go to it. So I believe it's called having your cake and eating it too.
I would love to I'd love to meet these people that are like so easily tricked. Like I'm not sure if they exist. Like someone just very blindly going into a movie thinking that it's the first movie ever called this. Like I don't know.
Yeah, and now this is obviously soon enough that we've had trailer and whatnot. And it looks like a Scream movie. That's all I've got for you, really.
I am. So this one, I'm not going to give it a must scream. And I think part of it is because it is so close. Because I feel like part of the like excitement, for the must scream is that like, ooh, like, it's so far away, but I can't wait to see it. And it's like, I actually am kind of excited for this, but it is like so close that, it feels like not as unattainable as some of these other ones. I think I am actually pretty interested in it, more just because I'm curious as to what's going to happen in the story, who the killer is going to end up being, what's going to happen to the, returning cast members from previous movies and that sort of thing. I'm not super into the team behind it. I don't think they're like bad, but they're not the what is it, the radio silence people, right? I think that's what they're called.
Yeah, the Ready or Not team. Yeah, which and we are kind of the bad guys here for saying this, because I wasn't into Ready or Not that much either. I was a little disappointed in it, but the internet loved it. Like, horror fans all over the internet were singing its praises. So we are in the minority on that one, but
and it's not like horrible. Like I've seen much worse, but it's not the kind of thing that got me super excited for what the team's gonna do next. But hey, maybe I could be wrong.
It was a perfectly fine 6 out of 10. Like that's how I felt about it. Yeah.
And I always love to see franchises continue. So I mean, I'm looking forward to this. But yeah, not like, oh my god, I can't wait. Kind of.
I think you're going to regret some of those words, Timmy. Particularly that part about loving to see franchises continue. I think you're going to.
That's true.
You're going to regret those words pretty quickly, actually.
Okay.
On this list. Although this next one, I mean, it's part of a franchise, kind of. So this is listed as January 28th. Although I did actually hear someone told me today that it had been pushed to April, so the date might be wrong here. But Morbius. Is coming out, and it looks like absolute shit. I'm very tempted to throw this into the sun and give it my Wicker Man. I'm tempted.
I don't know. I'm kind of excited for this. I do like Morbius, the comic book character, quite a bit, and I think Sony's knocking it out of the park. I haven't seen the newest Spider-Man yet, so please no spoilers, but I heard it's quite good, and I really, really liked Venom Let There Be Carnage from this year. So, I don't know. I think this is going to be bad, but I think it could potentially be in a fun way. The only thing that makes me not, like, over the moon for it is Jared Leto. He's so goddamn annoying.
I don't like him. Yeah, I mean, I don't really care about Morbius, the character. I mean, I've read like he's shown up in a few Spider-Man issues that I've read. That's about it. And I don't like Jared Leto. I thought the trailer looked like the most generic-looking Sony-produced movie that I have seen. I want. I'm saving my Wicker Man because I think I know what I want to use it on. But this was close. Okay. This tempted me. So yeah, it's a vampire movie, but like, it's gonna be borderline horror because it's more of a superhero vampire, and it's it's not whatever. February 18th, we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Ooh.
Talk about franchises where the names of the movies just confuse the shit out of you in terms of trying to like order them.
Oh, sure.
Because this is what, number 8 or 9 of Texas Chainsaw, and it's the third one called Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I guess the isn't there.
Yeah. And then it doesn't help that, like, some of them are reboots and some of them are prequels. Some of them are prequels to the reboots, and then some go back to the original storyline. It's just such a mess.
Yeah, I think this is a prequel to the original.
That sounds about right.
Oh no! Sorry, it's a sequel to the original because it's set
sequel,
after.
Right,
yeah,
yes.
set after. Yeah, set after. Because there was like a trailer on Twitter a couple of months ago. There's a lot of buzz that says this is an absolute mess, and probably why it's going straight to Netflix is because it is a complete like train wreck.
Now, I would say that this would be like a prime candidate for my Wicker Man, but it sounds bad, but in such a way that it's like, oh my god, I got to see this. Like, it sounds like such a train wreck that it could potentially be entertaining. I don't know. I'm intrigued by the very least. I have no doubt in my mind that it's going to be good, but at least I'm intrigued as to how bad it's going to be.
I suspect it's going to be trash. I don't expect I'm going to enjoy watching it very much, but you never know. I think the one positive I will say is that I'm looking forward to us talking about it, so at least that's something.
That's very true.
And this is another one where we actually went through the franchise on the build up to Leatherface, which was the last one. That was the prequel to the original that came out in 2017, and it's just we've been around so long now as a show that we're on the next one, like the next fresh version of Texas Chainsaw that they're trying to do. So that's kind of neat. It's like a little milestone in and of itself. Next up, March 17th, we have Unwelcome. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to read out what it says here in Bloody Disgusting, because people might not know what this is, and I'll be honest, I don't know what this is. So let's find out. A dark horror fairy tale directed by Irish-born John Wright. Grabbers and Robot Overlords is what he's known for. It follows a couple who retreats to the countryside only to learn of a mysterious presence living in their garden, the bloodthirsty Redcaps. The Redcaps will come when called to help souls in dire need of rescue, but it's crucial to remember that there's always a dear price to pay for their aid.
I like Redcaps. Is that like a mushroom thing?
It sounds like it. I'll be honest, the word fairy tale has me dubious at best.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's enough of in the description to get too excited, and I'm not too familiar with the previous work. Grabbers sounds familiar. That have like something to do with sheep, I want to say.
I don't know.
For some reason I'm imagining maybe it was something like a photo from it, or like the box art, and I thought either there was some monster sheep on it, or maybe a monster was grabbing a sheep, but I could be completely wrong. But yeah, I guess regardless, I don't know about enough about it, so yeah, it's kind of too hard to get excited for this one, but also not knowing enough about it, doesn't really make me want to burn it to death. Oh,
sure. Yeah, it's not Wicker Man level, but I can't say I'm excited based on that. Next up, on the 1st of April, we have You Won't Be Alone. Here's what the little description says. In an isolated mountain village in 19th century Macedonia, a young girl gets kidnapped and transformed into a witch. Curious about life as a human, the young witch accidentally kills a peasant in the nearby village and then takes her victim's shape to live life in her skin. She'll learn what it means to be human. And I could be wrong, but the image looks like Numi Rapici. So cool.
That sounds pretty interesting, honestly. That's kind of got me intrigued.
Yeah, no creative talent listed here, but I mean, honestly, it sounds like it's got that kind of tragic horror, like we're going to be kind of sympathetic maybe with the witch, even though she does kill someone. And I can see it being the dark tragedy of her like realizing like what it is to be human, and maybe she'll feel guilty for killing someone after she spends some time with humans and her loved ones, and so there could be stuff there.
See, I was kind of going in the opposite direction. It kind of sounded like a comedy to me, like maybe a Weekend at Bernie's, like she accidentally kills this person and then has to pretend to be them. Like that could be funny.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of jokes where like someone will say like a human expression and she'll be like, "What? Why would I take a seat with me? I don't want to steal your chair." But that's interesting.
Yeah, no, that one definitely has me intrigued. Obviously, a lot will come down to, the talent and everything involved, but like, without going on anything else, that sounds like it could be cool.
I've got a funny feeling some must screams are about to be given out here. April 22nd, The Northman.
And that is very tempting.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, this is from Robert Eggers, who did The Witch and the Lighthouse. It is an epic Viking revenge film, and it will explore how far a Viking prince will go to avenge his father, and it stars Alexander Skarsgård, Anya Taylor-Joy is back, Nicole Kidman, Ethan Hawke, William Dafoe. Holy shit, what a cast.
I mean, and this does have a trailer out, which looks amazing. My only little whatchamacallit nitpick is I don't know, I wasn't thinking of this too much in terms of like being horror, like it sounds like whatever, like a period piece, like revenge flick, like, and Robert Eggers is obviously known for having very kind of slow building, very tense, moody, atmospheric kind of stuff, so I'm sure there'll be those kind of things present in here, but I don't know, I'd be surprised if it is like full on horror. Yeah, horror in tone perhaps, but not much. Yeah. I mean, again, we have no idea where it's going to go plot wise, so maybe it does get proper spooky or something. But I would I'm very excited for this movie. I don't think I'm gonna give it the must scream just
Really?
because
Okay.
just because I don't know the horror level in it yet. You know, like I take my must screams very seriously. I want to make sure that we're giving out quality horror recommendations and not just a recommendation for like a fantastic movie.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point, because like I was thinking this was an easy like must scream, but you could be, it might not end up, because there's definitely a couple other things on here when I was glancing earlier that like are, you know, there's a couple of things that are definitely going to be reviewed on the Ace rather than screams. But okay, you know what, I will withhold for now. If I've got any must screams left at the end, I might come back and dish out. But okay, we'll move on.
We're big Eggers fans, you know. He's great. I'll like it, you know. I mean, I guess he's only done 2 other movies, but they've been so amazing that I'm pretty much a fan for life.
Yes, we're Eggerheads, you might say.
Yeah.
So May 13th, that's a very good day. It's the most important day of the year. Film critic called 65, and Sam Raimi has joined forces with A Quiet Place writers Scott Beck and Brian Woods for 65, an original sci-fi thriller. So again, I'm debating how much of a horror movie this one is, but it stars Adam Driver, Ariana Greenblatt, and Chloe Coleman, and the plot's been kept secret. So there's no plot to go on.
Oh, this is my must scream. I can't wait to see this movie. I don't know what it's about.
Are you serious?
No, of course not.
Okay, good.
I'm joking.
I don't know. I thought you might just be like, oh, Sam Raimi, I must touch myself or something. I don't know.
I do love Sam Raimi, so yes, that does have me a bit excited. But I mean, nothing else about it is really doing much for me. I do like Adam Driver. I guess I like the first Quiet Place enough that, you know, I'm intrigued, but you know, it's hard to get too excited without knowing much more.
Yeah, that's fair. Next one on this list, I would definitely not include in the horror list, Jurassic World Dominion. Don't get me wrong. There's a couple of good horror things like in Jurassic Park. Sure. There is, but it's not. I wouldn't really call it a horror movie. So yes, we'll just gloss over that, I think, and move on.
I want to see it. I know not. I don't think. At least a lot of the people I talked to haven't liked the last 2 Jurassic World movies, but I kind of like them. They're a little schlocky, but I think they're schlock.
I mean, I'm okay with a dinosaur movie being schlocky. Like, you know, give me dinosaurs chasing people in weird ways.
Exactly.
And, next up, June 24th, we have The Black Phone, which is the Scott Derrickson movie that's coming out. A 13-year-old boy who finds himself locked up in his kidnapper's basement receives unlikely help from past victims who call through a broken telephone. That's the premise of this one. And it's also notable.
Based on a...
that's what I was about to say. It's based on a Joe Hill short story.
This is a tough one because the premise I do think is pretty good. I do have the book that this is in, but I actually haven't read it yet, so I'll try to read it before the movie comes out. And I really like Joe Hill. I'm a big fan of his. And I think, like, you know, Ethan Hawke is great, and you know, if you've seen the trailer, the images, like, I like that mask he's wearing. You know, it's very creepy. Has a good look to it. The only thing I'm not sure about is I don't think I'm a big Scott Derrickson fan.
I seem to recall way back at the start of the show, it was over 6 years ago now. I seem to remember you defending Sinister 2 quite a bit.
Well, to be fair, he didn't do Sinister 2, I don't think.
Oh, did he not? Okay.
I think someone...
Well, in that case, you defended Sinister 1. There was definitely a defense of Sinister happening in my presence.
I like the first... Well, here's the thing is, I don't think, like, Scott Derrickson is horrible, but I think his movies are pretty average. Like, you know, I mean, I would defend Sinister as, like, a decent movie. I wouldn't say... I mean, I forget what I said on the review. If I don't think I was like glowing about it, but that's another movie that I think is like pretty average, maybe like a 6-ish or so out of 10. Like I think there's some merit to it, but I mean, there's some people.
I'm pretty sure you gave it a golden lap.
A golden lap. Yeah, 10 out of 10.
That's our award trophy that we give it. Apparently, we give it golden lap.
Actually, if any fans want to have a prototype for one, I think that'd be a cool little trinket to have. But no, I mean, well, obviously he did the Hellraiser one that neither of us liked. So I don't like that. He did The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which I think I kind of...
Is that him? I didn't even know that was him.
That's him, yeah. Okay. I think I liked it when it came out. I don't know if I've seen it in a while. So I'm not sure how I would feel if I go back to it. But then like Sinister, again, I think, it's fine, but it's not like, that's not over the top for me. And then I don't know if you can blame him for Doctor Strange, because, there's so much studio involvement in the MCU movies, but I really hated Doctor Strange. And I love him as a comic book character, but I did not like that movie.
I didn't know you felt so strongly about Doctor Strange. I'm pleased to hear this, Tim, because I also hate that movie.
Yeah, I think it's the second worst MCU movie, right after Iron Man 2. I think they're both horrible. And I'm a pretty big MCU fan. Like, I think I would probably defend almost every other movie, but those two I just really hate with a passion. And I don't know, also I think he's kind of like annoying on Twitter and like and stuff. So I don't know. I'm not a Derrickson guy.
It's not your films. I just don't like you as a person.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure, if we sat down and shared a sandwich, I'm sure, we'd get along.
What's in the sandwich, Tim?
I usually go with a little bit of chicken and a little bit of cheese.
Uh-huh.
That's it.
No butter or the sauce, either or. No.
I will probably put hot sauce on it.
Hot sauce, okay.
Normally I'd probably like to put like some bacon or something up. I'm trying to eat a little healthier. But I guess if Derrickson's paying, maybe I'll get like some extra toppings.
I'll have some lobster on my sandwich, please.
Yes, please. Yeah, man. But no, I'm whatever. He's fine. If you like him, that's great. If you believe that Sinister is the scariest movie scientifically proven, whatever, that study they did. Did you hear about that? Or
I vaguely I've forgotten about it, but now that you've said it, it's something clicked in my brain there that yes, I remember hearing Sinister is scientifically the scariest movie, which news to me is someone who's watched a lot of horror movies.
Yeah. I mean, it probably just means they had like 5 people hooked up to like heart monitors, and that one had the loudest jump scares of like, the 5 new movies they watched when they did that study.
Yeah, 5 people hooked up to heart monitors. They were all 6-year-old girls or something, just to get maximum effect. Like, how do we traumatize young people? I'm giving it my Wicker Man to this thing. Don't get me wrong. Like, Joe Hill obviously is a good writer. I've enjoyed some of his comic book work. The premise actually is fine. Like, it's actually quite intriguing, but I really don't like Sinister. I really hated Doctor Strange. I just could not be less excited for a movie just based on a director's name. I'm good.
Hellraiser, you like though?
Oh no, I didn't like that. But I forget he did. Which one did he even do? I forget.
I want to say Deader, but I don't know. I mean, that's another one like Texas. Like, the titles don't help you.
Deader. That was the one with the journalist. Okay, all right.
Or maybe it was Inferno. I forget.
I think it was Inferno. I think it was because it was the 5th one. I think it was the 5th one.
Yeah.
All right, that's the black phone. Okay.
So I guess I'm watching that one alone.
I'll still review it, Timmy. July 22nd, we have Nope, which is the Jordan Peele film
based on the Parks and Rec character.
No, I've just got a campaign poster in my head. Just the Nope and like her shitting grin on the poster. I tell you what, there's not a lot of information to go on this one, but I'm giving it a must scream. I mean, Peele is another director who's really, won me over with just a couple of movies. I think Get Out is just, it was an instant classic when it came out, and I know there's some people that disagree with me, and I think even when we reviewed it, we're not like on completely different ends, but I think I liked Us a lot more than you, but I really, really like Us, and that's what I've rewatched a couple of times, and it still really holds up for me. So he's 2 for 2 in my book. So yeah, I'm really excited for this, even without knowing much of what's happening or what's going on with it. Yeah, I didn't dislike Us. There was a lot of things I liked about it, but I had some fault. you know, we don't know much about this. The poster we have is just a cloud with some bunting sort of like dangling from it. So it's like, it's an evil cloud. What are we doing? But regardless, I am definitely curious. Again, I'm going to reserve giving out a must streams for now. But if I have any left at the end of the list, this is a prime candidate to throw one at. But I am definitely intrigued. A lot of mystery going about. I love that he's gotten to a point now where they can kind of sell the movie just on it's Jordan Peele's next horror movie, and they don't really have to tell as much, and that mystery is part of the charm. So that's kind of nice. Next up, August 19th, we have Beast. This stars Idris Elba, and he goes on a trip to South Africa. And him and his two teenage daughters get hunted by a massive rogue lion intent on proving that the savannah has but one apex predator. So this is Idris Elba and two daughters versus the lion.
Roar 2.
That sounds okay. Yeah. I mean, this all comes down to execution. Like how does it work?
How CGI is the lion gonna look?
Yeah. Are we going for serious thriller kind of vibes? Are we going for schlocky, like crawl-esque sort of stuff? Like what are we doing with this?
Yeah. Personally, I do love animal attack movies. And you know, there's been some pretty decent lion movies. I mean, yeah, I was just making a joke about Roar, and obviously that's not intended to be horror, but that is kind of a horrific movie. But Ghost in the Darkness, that's a very good lion, I guess kind of a horror movie.
I think Matt made me watch that.
I like that one. Were you not a fan?
No, I didn't hate it, but I just wasn't that into it either.
I mean, it's not like Jaws level, like must see, but I enjoyed it. There's recently... there was maybe like a few years ago, I want to say like a Swedish movie about like a lion escapes from a zoo, is hunting people down. That sounded cool, but ended up not being that great. I think it's called Uncaged.
Oh, sounds familiar.
Yeah, and then there's another movie about, I think like a woman gets like a tiger trapped in her house and tries to escape it. Forget what that was called, but that was kind of a cool movie. I like lions, though. I'll see this.
Yeah, I'm down for it. Not a must stream by any means, but I'm down for it. Next up, September 9th, we have Dark Harvest. So this is set on Halloween 1963. Norman Partridge's horror novel Dark Harvest is heading to the big screen with David Slade, who worked on Hard Candy, 30 Days of Night, and Hannibal. Hannibal, TV show, not... Well, actually, I don't even know. I'm assuming it's a TV show. I don't know why. Because it's basically because I know the movie was Ridley Scott, so it has to be the TV show. But anyway, so he's directing. Every fall, teen boys in a small Midwestern town participate in a hunt to catch Sawtooth Jack. I'm not. Oh, I mean, I guess it just says fall, not October. But like, that's given the image here with the pumpkin head, I feel like this should be out in October, not September. But because what I was about to say is that, I mean, I'm hoping it's good. I mean, there's not really any indication from you one way or the other. But I will say the premise, it does sound like a good Halloween like vibes movie.
Yeah. I was just checking my phone because I wanted to make sure the title was right. But this is funny because I actually just got my Severin Black Friday order in today, and actually got a movie called Dark Harvest. But I'm assuming it has no relation. The one I got is like a Scarecrow movie.
Oh sure, yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, this sounds cool. I guess I like Slade. He's not someone that always like comes to mind, but I mean, I saw Hard Candy when it came out. I don't really remember much other than like kind of the general plot, but I remember liking it, and I like 30 Days a Night, and he had the that one segment on Nightmare Cinema that I think we both liked, or at least I liked.
Well, I have not seen Hard Candy. I've not seen 30 Days of Night.
Never.
So I have very little to go on here. So
I'm pretty sure he did the one in Nightmare Cinema that was like black and white, and it was like a lady, like when she looked at people's faces, they kind of looked like.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah,
I think that was him.
Okay. I got a little slither. I like the vibes that it sounds like it's like small town. They look these kids go like hunting for Sawtooth Jack. The image here, presumably from the book, is like this pumpkin head that's kind of on fire. There's vibes here that that appeal to me. But I don't know about the quality though. So I have to be reserved on this one. But interesting. Here's one that I know you're going to perk up for a little bit. September 9th, Salem's Lot. We're getting a remake of Salem's Lot. James Wan's producing this. Obviously, it's based on a Stephen King vampire story. Actually, maybe you're not that excited. I'm reading some important information here on this.
Yeah, you know what? I know what you're gonna say next, and I'll just jump ahead and tell you this is gonna be my Wicker Man.
Yes.
I mean, you're right. Yes, obviously, I love Stephen King. I love Salem's Lot. But God damn it, I hate Gary Dauberman.
Yes, Gary Dauberman is writing and directing, and he wrote. I don't know if he directed all these, but he definitely wrote It, The Nun, and Annabelle Comes Home.
And more specifically, he wrote It Chapter 2, which was just god awful.
Yes.
He. I forget. Does it say if this was his directing debut, or did he direct one of the Annabelles? I don't remember.
I think I vaguely remember from the articles when this was announced that this might be his directing debut because he was mostly a writer before.
I mean, I really don't. No offense to him, whatever. I just find his style to be very generic. Very focused on like the jump scares, and not in a, in the, because there's nothing inherently wrong with like a jump scare, but he's definitely, when I think of his stuff, that's the very bullshit kind of like trickery that gets you, like when people are talking about like why jump scares suck, like I think they're talking about the way they kind of do this here where it feels cheap, and this a lot of stuff is dumb and generic, and he's already had his hand in a couple of Stephen King properties, and I just think they whiffed it so hard, and I don't want to see him whiff another one. And again, it's just annoying because I love Salem's Lot, and I love Tobe Hooper. I don't think he. I like some of the stuff he did in the. I'm never sure what to call it. If it's I don't know if it's technically considered a movie or a miniseries. Because I think it was like a TV miniseries, but I think they chopped it up and made a movie out of it.
I think it was a miniseries, but much like the original It, they kind of packaged it on DVD and stuff as just like, hey, it's a movie.
Yeah. Which, if you ever watch it, it's like it's way too long and slow at parts, but then there are some horror parts that are like just really amazing. So, but it doesn't like I think capture the book perfectly. So this is a property that I do think could use with a new movie. But it just sucks.
But unfortunately,
it's going to be this one.
It's coming from a creator who is second only to William Brent Bell as one of the worst current horror movie creators there is.
In your opinion, awesome. But I mean, the thing that really sucks about this kind of thing, though, is like, Stephen King is pretty hot right now and everything. Like, they're making a lot of his stuff and even, remaking like older stuff. But it's not like a comic book character where it's like, well, all right, if they make a bad Spider-Man movie, they're going to make another one 3 years later anyway or whatever. But it's like this, it's like, well, and like same thing with It too, because like, It and Salem's Lots are like two really phenomenal Stephen King books for me that I have a big attachment to. And it just sucks knowing that, like, if you don't get it right, there's a good chance they'll do it again, but it's probably gonna be like 10-15 years or something.
Yeah,
I mean, with the way things go now, maybe it won't be that long. But
come on, this isn't Spider-Man, this is Salem's Lot. It'll take a while.
Very true. Yeah.
All right, well, September 23rd we have Don't Worry Darling, which you probably don't know what that is, but this is actually going to star Florence Pugh as a 1950s housewife living with her husband In an experimental utopian community, she begins to worry it may harbour dark secrets. And it's actually directed by Olivia Wilde, and they're referring to it as a psychological thriller. So it may be questionable on the horror scale, but the only thing that's out about this, other than that brief description, is like a photo of Florence Pugh in her, like, you know, in character, like in her 50s outfit. So not much to go on. I do like Florence Pugh as an actress, and you know, after Midsummer, you know, maybe she is going to like become a bit of a scream queen. You know, Anya Taylor-Joy is like doing her best to take that crown and be like, no, I'm the scream queen of the generation. All you other bitches be damned. It's me and me alone. But then of course, like, you know, Pugh's like, yeah, well, I worked with Ari Aster, and Anya Taylor-Joy's like, yeah, but I've got eggers. Right.
That's true.
I don't know where I'm going with this, other than I don't have anything else to say about this movie except I hope it's obviously it's good, but yeah.
It sounds intriguing.
Yeah. Oh. Now it's a credit to the quality of some of the shit coming up that we didn't save our Wicker Mans for this. October 14th, Halloween Ends.
You know, I did I did have that in my mind. The only thing is, I have not liked this new Halloween trilogy so far, but especially the last one, with it being like so wild, I am kind of interested to see how it's gonna end. I know I'm not gonna like it. I know I'm gonna have a lot to complain about it, but I am intrigued. So I guess I'll give it that. And like you kind of said before, with the other movies, like, it'll probably be painful to watch, but it'll be fun to discuss. We'll see if we can break our record.
Yeah. The runtime.
Next longest episode.
Well, the last one hit 2.5 hours, which was notable because it was almost an hour longer than the previous record. Although that said, since then, Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City actually, like, also etched over 2 hours. So, like. So the previous Halloween movie, which was second, is now third. So there is a little bit of an upper echelon of movies to get that time. So yeah, there's not much to say here. Like I'm expecting a car crash, and I'm almost just like maniacally waiting to see what sort of shenanigans they get up to.
Right.
At this point, just so I can yell about it. December 2nd, we have a film called Violent Night. But this sounds like a Christmas horror movie, Tim, doesn't it?
Ooh. Yeah.
Violent Night. From Norwegian director Tommy Wirkola, who did Hansel and Gretel, Witch Hunters, and the Dead Snow movies, comes Violent Night, a horror tale starring David Harbour. No plot details. But I'm always down for more Christmas horror movies.
Yeah, I like Christmas horror. I like Harbor. What was the before? The Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. That was kind of a fun movie.
I actually never seen
stupid,
that, but
it's like stupid, but in a fun kind of over the top way. And then, did we do the Dead Snow movies? I thought we did the first one.
We did the first one. We haven't done the second one yet, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Or any more that may exist, but as far as I know, there's only two. But
yeah, I don't think I like that one from what I remember.
Yeah, it wasn't the worst thing ever, but yeah, we were pretty lukewarm on it at best. But I mean, I always do for more Christmas horror movies.
Yeah.
So it's a good title. I'll give it that. It's got a good title.
Yeah.
So that's nice. So we're on to stuff that doesn't have specific dates. So for summer 2022. We have, and I would edge this more towards science fiction, but I do think it's enough horror, especially recently when I talked about the first movie in this franchise and how much it really is kind of a slasher movie in many ways. So this is Prey, which is actually the new Predator movie coming summer 2022. And it's a couple of notable things, right? So premise-wise, it is set 300 years ago. It's going to chronicle a predator's journey to Earth and follow an unlikely warrior. And given the poster they put out, it looks like it's going to be like a young woman from a tribe, whatever setting it is. And it's going to be released in the summer. Apparently, it's going to go straight to Hulu. I didn't know that part. But the other big notable part is that it's directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who made 10 Cloverfield Lane, which
Ooh.
It's a really good movie,
Yeah.
and actually, I also recently watched this for Ace, and I actually, because of some weird scheduling, we had to like delay the episode. I watched it twice, and it held up both times. So,
Oh, nice.
so I'm happy to say that film is really held up. So this is getting
That's-
one of my must screams. It's getting a must scream
Okay.
because I have been let down with Predator. I need a good Predator movie. This director has potential. This premise and the poster all fill me with like hope that this is an interesting take on the character, on the franchise. I'm hopeful. Must scream.
Yeah.
Pray.
Yeah. You know what? I'll give it a must scream
Nice.
as well. I think I do agree that this is kind of teetering on sci-fi, so I don't know. Like, I mean, maybe I'm being a little hypocritical if I did give one to the Northman, but then I'm giving one to this. But
Predator 1, like, if you go back and watch Predator 1, it does in many ways follow the premise of a slasher movie, despite the fact that obviously, he's going after, like, Arnold and the biggest tough machine gun wielding guys that there is, but...
And the Predator is, it's like a monster, like, it's an alien, but it's still, like, monster, so... whatever it fits, but I mean, I didn't really know much other than the general premise, but I think it sounds really cool. I think that the poster looks awesome. I didn't realize it was a 10 Cloverfield director, but I actually like that movie a lot. It's one I always think about revisiting, but I just haven't really, I don't have the time to or whatever, but I actually should watch it again at
it's
some
actually
point.
something in a pandemic world that is even more relatable and interesting.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's cool.
I'd give it a whirl.
Yeah, I think it looks cool.
Yeah, I loved it. It was this weird thing where, like, there was rumors that he was making the next Predator for a while, but then one day out of nowhere they dropped the title in the poster and said it's coming next year, and I just like this poster looks great. Well, this actually is a great poster that entices your imagination, because it's like, oh, what is this movie going to be like? It's different. So
yeah, and Predator is just like another one of those franchises like Terminator or Aliens that just feels like it's lost its way. That you just really want them to just get another home run.
And honestly, I'm at the point where I've given up on Terminator and Alien, where I'm like, I'm convinced we're never getting another good one ever again. And especially
Terminator seems hard. Alien, I feel like
you could
at some point, if you get the right person.
I think Predator's the one that seems like the most doable, and the one that feels like there's more gas left in the tank. Like, because Terminator was such a closed off story that every time they bring it back, they have to like retcon or explain how it's continuing or blah 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 blah. But Predator feels like no, you can, like, the whole point of Predator is that these aliens like come to Earth and other locations and hunt and they've been doing this for, like, you could just literally just pick a setting. It's like a Jason movie. Just pick your setting, pick your time period, pick your planet even, and just like have the Predator interact with a different group of people, of victims. Perfect.
And I've always wanted a Predator movie with almost like no dialogue, where like it's almost from the Predator's point of view. Because actually that's what I kind of wanted with Alien versus Predator, is like I didn't want to follow any humans around. I just wanted like a Predator hunting aliens, and there's just like no like words spoken. And
instead you got I'm taking a gun with me. Same principle as a condom. You'd rather like not need it and have it than need it and not have it, or something to that effect. That was the line.
Well, I can't believe you remembered a line from
I just
AVP.
remember that line because like the short-haired blonde woman like holds up the gun and like says this line, like it's this big, like it's like
Jesus.
so early 2000s. It's so early, it hurts. Oh, Paul Anderson.
But yeah, I mean, I'm imagining this one, it's set in the past, and that maybe there won't be as many like dialogue or something, so that could be pretty cool. Or if it is, it's not going to be dumb words like you're saying that from AVP.
So double must streams then on Predator or on Prey, sorry, I should say.
Good title too.
Yeah, perfect title. It's the perfect counterpoint to Predator, right?
Yeah.
Predator and Prey. So wonderful. All right, Hocus Pocus 2 is listed for fall 2022. How are you feeling about Hocus Pocus?
I mean, I do, as a kid, I liked the first one. I think we rewatched it in October last month because my wife likes it a lot too. So I mean, it's a fun kids movie, but I don't care.
I want everyone to know that it is January right now. So when Tim said last month, October, he's just confused. It's not an old recording.
Yes, during October. Sorry. But yeah, and then I think they released like a picture of like, I don't know. I hate these sequels that are like 20, 30, 40 years later because it kind of just bums me out to see everyone so old. Like, yeah. I guess some people like it. Like, they release like, hey, like here's the cast back together and they're in their costumes and stuff. But like, I don't know, when I see it, I just like, I'm like, ooh, aging. Like, no, we're all gonna die someday. I don't like seeing this.
I think for me, it's just a case of sometimes it just doesn't feel like the same character anymore because like I just see the actors. Like Bruce Willis was always the example for me in the fourth Die Hard, where it was like he doesn't look like John McClane anymore. And I get that you could say, well, John McClane's just like shaved his head too, and like because it was balding and whatever. But I don't know. There's just something about it. It's like and maybe it's because he wasn't putting in the effort and he was kind of phoning it in, perhaps. But he just didn't feel like he was acting as John McClane anymore. He just felt like I was getting like modern day Bruce Willis who didn't give a shit. And but I don't know. Anyway, mildly curious. I was a fan of the first one growing up as a kid. Anything with a talking cat usually was up my alley. So cool. By the way, how many must screams you got left? One, I think.
One.
Yeah, I got two left. So we'll see what comes up here.
Playing it safe.
Yeah. But we've both used the Wicker Man. Just for record. Next up, so these are all just TBD now. There's no time periods. Bones and All. This is David Kajnik and Luca Guadagnino. God. So basically, they're from the Suspiria. I assume the new one.
The remake.
Yeah, I assume so. They're adapting Camille DeAngelis novel, which is a cannibal story. Timothy Chalamet and Taylor Russell play star-crossed young lovers surviving on the margins of society who meet and join together for a 1,000-mile odyssey which takes them right through the back roads, hidden passages and trapdoors of Ronald Reagan's America. Oh, so it's set in the 80s or whatever. Okay. So interesting.
Well, this is a tough one. I can see myself either loving this or like I can see it being like super pretentious and hating it. So I don't know where I stand on this. I did like the Suspiria remake when I first saw it. I think I've soured on it a little bit.
Okay.
I don't hate it, but I don't know. I guess in opposition to the original, which I love so much, I think maybe I've hardened on it a bit. I mean, there's still cool stuff in it, and definitely some good like freaky directing in there. So I don't know, maybe this could be cool, but I don't know. It definitely sounds artsy, which sometimes can be a bad thing to me.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a movie that's not going to be them getting captured in the first 10 minutes. It feels like there's going to be a lot of build up or whatever, or maybe even like jumping back and forth. I'm not sure. But curious. It was interesting. If it didn't tell me it was a cannibal story at the start of the little paragraph, I wouldn't have known what the horror element was, because the rest of it didn't really tell you. It just said, they're on a road trip and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Next up, Evil Dead Rise.
All right, this is a must scream for me.
Your final must scream. Oh my.
Yeah. Even though I mean, there's still a lot that I don't know about it. I'm not even really too familiar with the people making it, but man, I just love Evil Dead so much. And hey, knock on wood, fingers crossed and everything, but I don't think they've done a bad thing yet. The 3 original movies are all great. The remake's great. I love the television show, and obviously this is going to be a big departure because we're kind of moving away from like the Ash, Bruce Campbell kind of stuff. But
let me read the blurb here, because it sounds like there's more plot out for this than I realized. Beth plays an overdue visit to her older sister Ellie, who is raising 3 kids on her own in a cramped LA apartment. A sister's reunion is cut short by the discovery of a mysterious book deep in the bowels of Ellie's building, giving rise to flesh-possessing demons and thrusting Beth into a battle for survival as she is faced with the most nightmarish version of motherhood imaginable. Directed by Lee Cronin, which I think he did the whole... not the whole. What was it called? The hole in the back garden.
Yeah, I know when you're talking about.
Yeah.
It might have just been the whole. I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't crazy about that, but I don't know. I'll still give it the benefit of the doubt. And I think I remember like hearing stuff about how like Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, even though it's not like their movie, it's not like they are like it's not like Ash is in it or anything, but I still think they had a hand in like producing it and probably not writing it, but maybe giving script notes or overviewing the script or something. So I'll and maybe there's something in the director that they see. So hopefully that there's still enough of an Evil Dead flair in it that I'm excited regardless. And also I like that it's a different setting, so yeah, we haven't really seen deadites and stuff in this kind of like LA apartment complex. That could be cool.
I appreciate the more urban set, and I think that's a nice fresh of breath there. Although, to be honest, I'm kind of bummed that we never got more Mia. Like, I wanted more.
That's true.
Jane Levi, Evil Dead. So I'm kind of bummed that we never got more of that.
Yeah.
But hopefully it's good, even though I didn't really like the director's previous movie too much, but we'll see. Next up,
I think if we had seen like 2 or 3 movies that we didn't like from him, I'd be a little more down on it. But since it's just one movie, and I think even that one, I mean, I don't remember enough to be like, oh no, it was the worst movie I've ever seen. Like maybe it was just a good movie that or maybe it was like a decent enough movie, but it just didn't really hit me. So, and it's just one movie, so who knows? Maybe with more guidance or something, it could be better. But I'm still excited for it.
You're just hoping we don't have to come in here and shit all over an Evil Dead movie. That's what you're hoping.
I mean, I will be sad if that's the case.
Next up, we have The Grandmother. This is
of course.
Susanna returns home to Madrid to find long-term care for her grandmother. Pilar. That's a weird name. Yeah, the grandmother's called Pilar. Pilar. Pilar.
So I'm guessing this is an American movie, right?
Very possibly. Well, actually, not. You'll know it's Spanish, especially when I tell you who the director is. But
I think I know. That's why.
Yeah. But what should be just a few days ends up becoming a genuine nightmare after Susanna notices Pilar starts to act strangely. So very, very light on the description there. Very vague. But this is actually from the director of Wreck, or one of the directors of Wreck anyway, Paco Plaza. So
is it the same one that did Veronica?
I think so. Actually, they mentioned it.
Okay. Yeah. So actually, as soon as you said grandmother, I was like, oh, okay, whatever. This sounds kind of cheesy, but actually, yeah. When you started going more into it, I was like, oh yeah, no, I think this is the Wreck guy. So so this actually could be cool. Especially it's from the same guy, because I actually quite liked Veronica. So yeah, I mean, not enough to say like, oh my god, I'm super excited, but this is one I'll look forward to.
Yeah, I remember being fairly into Veronica. Wasn't a perfect movie, but I remember being into a lot of how it was done. So, no. Next up, we got Hatching. Tinya, this is probably also foreign because it's Tinja. But Tinya is a 12-year-old gymnast desperate to please her mother, finds a strange egg, and it's a pretty big egg, going with the picture here.
Okay.
And decides to keep it warm until it hatches. What emerges leads to violent consequences. So this is, I presume, going to be a monster movie eventually, but it's going to be a weird movie about this preteen girl like nursing this giant egg, and I'd say it's about, I don't know, maybe 3 foot tall.
That sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
I'm kind of into it as well. Like, it's just weird enough that I'm like, okay, I'm a little curious. Yeah, I'm curious. Next up, The Haunted Mansion.
Okay.
Justin Simeon from Dear White People in Bad Hair is directing a new live-action movie based on the popular Disney attraction. It follows a mother and her son who come across a mansion that is more than it seems, while being orbited by various characters key to undressing the spooky mystery.
I mean, this feels very bittersweet because, I think Guillermo del Toro was supposed to do a Haunted Mansion movie for a long time, and then it never happened. So now if I hear anyone else is doing one, I don't really care. But
yeah, but that'll probably be better than the one he would have made, though.
No, you're off your rocker. uh, yeah, this is I mean, it's not going to be a horror movie. Disney is never going to let them make a proper.
It's going to be horror themed. You know, it's basically going to be kind of like Hocus Pocus. It's going to be like a gateway horror movie for kids.
Sure. Which, I mean, maybe it'll be fun. I'm sure I'll see it because it'll come on Disney Plus eventually. But yeah, I'm not super excited off the bat.
Next up, the reason why we have to get to the last two relatively soon, Hellraiser. Whatever this reboot is going to end up being called.
Okay.
Maybe it's just Hellraiser. But David Bruckner's helming what is described as a loyal yet evolved reimagining of Clive Barker's 1987 horror classic, with Jamie Clayton as the new Pinhead. I'm
into it, actually. Well, I don't have any more of my screams, but this could have been a potential contender. I like the Ritual a lot. Maybe I should save my opinions about the Night House in case we review it.
We're definitely reviewing the Night House.
But yeah, I mean, I think this is cool. I love Hellraiser, and I mean, again, that's another franchise that had very quickly lost its way. But yeah, I mean, no, I would love to see another good Hellraiser movie, and yeah, again, if we're changing it up and maybe doing actually doing like a big budget like movie with I guess somewhat notable director, and like bringing in like a new version of Pinhead that maybe could launch like a new franchise. This could potentially be pretty cool. I'm
cautiously optimistic based on The Ritual. That's what I've got going here. But Hellraiser as a franchise is tainted goods, so we'll see. We'll see.
It's true. I think that was one of the sequels, Hellraiser Tainted Goods. It's one of the later ones we haven't gotten to yet. Next up,
Infinity Pool. You're wondering what this is. This is Brandon Cronenberg's follow-up to Possessor. It's going to star Alexander Skarsgård. Does that name again? So James and Em are young, rich, and in love, and on vacation. Their all-inclusive resort boasts island tours with gleaming beaches. But outside of the hotel gates waits something much more dangerous and seductive beyond the edge of paradise. It's going to be released by Neon. That was a very vague description, to the point where I'm like, is this actually horror or what? But it never actually went far enough to really confirm it one way or the other. It very well might be horror. It sounds like it's building up to horror. I am actually going to slap a mushrooms on this because...
Did you do Possessor on Ace?
We did, yeah. Okay. And that movie it sticks with you, okay? It's one of the few movies that I've ever seen that made violence so uncomfortable and like really feel the horror of the violence. And it's a through and through science fiction film, but it's often you get the son or the daughter of a director, and like they try to use the name, they try to cash in on having the name, and it ends up just being kind of a whimper. This is like one of the few cases I can think of where it's like, apparently this passed down in his genes, like almost to the point where I feel like David Cronenberg like almost wants to come back and direct more movies just to prove that he can still compete with his son, because it was extreme.
Did you ever hear John Carpenter talk about Cronenberg?
No.
It's funny. He always like kind of like digs at him because they used to have these like Masters of Horror dinners where like they get together like a bunch of different directors in LA and kind of just have dinner and shoot the shit. But like John Carpenter has said that like Cronenberg used to come and then he kind of got so full of himself and became all artsy fartsy and was too good for horror. But like I don't know, if you look at like some like interviews or something that Carpenter kind of put in some digs at him is very funny. I love Carpenter so much. He's such like a salty old man. Just anytime he has like a quote where he's just like digging on people.
The only caveat I have to this apparent opinion that Carpenter has, and I love Carpenter obviously, is that David Cronenberg fairly late in his career chose to have a small role in Jason X of all things. That doesn't
That's
sound like
true.
that does not sound like someone to me who is too snobby for horror.
That's fair. That's very fair.
But I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. But yeah, based on Possessor, this gets basically an instant, must screams. So that's two of mine done. I've got one left. You got nothing left. You're empty.
Yeah, I gotta go back and rewatch Possessor, because I think I tried watching it and I don't even remember if I got it through. But also, I think it was at a time when like my son was just born and I was like extremely tired and probably couldn't pay attention. So I've heard something. Everyone I know that's ever talked about it has just raved about it. So
next up, The Innocents. A group of children become drawn together by mysterious shared abilities, testing the limits of their newfound powers in the forest and playground surrounding their brutalist apartment complex. As the children's loyalties shift and small cruelties escalate, their innocent play takes a dark turn towards the malevolent, and strange things begin to happen. It's a dark superhero twist, and it's coming from IFC Midnight. So no creators here listed, but
pass. I don't need more dark superhero stuff. Yeah, I mean, it could potentially be cool. I mean, we'll see once like trailer comes out and stuff. But I don't know.
I'm happy to move on to The Munsters.
Oh no!
Directed
this is
by.
What we should have saved the Wicker Man for.
The Munsters, directed by Rob. I'm not going to be. I'm going to be honest here. I forgot Rob Zombie's the one. I might have saved my Wicker Man for this. Had I known, had I remembered, I might have saved my Wicker Man.
Man. Yeah, I mean, we're not fans of Rob Zombie on the show. What can we say? Oh boy, this could be a tough one. I'll be a little positive and maybe give him a little bit of a benefit of a doubt. Is that maybe if this is something that's maybe going in more of a comedic bent because it's based on a sitcom.
It also inherently has to be more stylish because the whole idea is that it's like kind of like the spooky like monster castle from classic horror, but obviously it's a comedy. I can't imagine this just having his like sleazy 70s aesthetic that he loves so much.
Yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't say I'm excited for this, but if there was a Rob Zombie movie, like if I had to watch one, I'd be like, all right, maybe I'm more interested in this than like, the millionth time he's tried to do like some grimy, sleazy Texas Chainsaw riff,
Yeah. Tim, you'll never believe who's playing Lily Munster.
Is it his wife?
How did you get that? That was my guess. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if his wife has ever shown up in a movie he's done, but
has she ever shown up in a movie he's done and not taken her clothes off? That's the real question.
Good question. Good question.
Next up is My Best Friend's Exorcism. It's a good title.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah. I read the book of this. And
this has been produced by Christopher Landon. Not directed, but that's Landon directed to Happy Death Days and Freaky. So this has been directed by Damon Thomas. It's an adaptation of Grady Hendrix' novel set in 1988 and sees the friendship tested by possession. Elsie Fisher from 8th grade. Hey, that's great. Also, apparently she's in the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I didn't know that part. But she was great.
I never saw 8th grade, but I heard it's good.
Yeah, she's great in 8th grade. So, yeah, it's coming sometime in 2022.
Cool. So. Actually, I'll be pretty excited for that. I like the book a lot. I think Grady Hendrix is great. His stuff is really fun. And while I wasn't the biggest fan of like, Happy Death Day, they're fun kind of like pop movies, and this is kind of like I'd say like, an 80s pop kind of book. So, again, I know he's not directing, but actually seems like a good fit. To have him directing it, so this could potentially be pretty cool.
I mean, I love Happy Death Day, so I'm not going to take this slander.
First one's fine. The sequel is like just god awful.
I know. I still had fun with the sequel. It's not as good, but I still had fun with the sequel.
It's so bad.
I'm not going to take this. I'm not giving out my final mushrooms just yet, but I'll consider that. If I've still got it left at the end. Something in the Dirt is up next. When neighbors John and Levi witness supernatural events in their Los Angeles apartment building, they realize documenting the paranormal could inject some fame and fortune into their wasted lives. So this is
about us?
this is the next film from Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, who, if I remember correctly, did
Spring.
I think that's The Endless and Synchronic. So they're more sci-fi, admittedly. But
do they do Spring or?
Yeah, Spring. I think that's them too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that could be cool then. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a case of where the creators are what make it exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I mentioned supernatural, so I assume it is more horror geared, this one, versus their sci-fi work. I'm just googling to make sure that they are who I think they are. Yeah, it's them. It's them. All right, cool. All right. I'm not going to slap a mushrooms on it yet. I'm saving this last one.
Okay, we get.
I'm saving this last one. Okay. Next up, Wendell and Wild. This looks like a Nightmare Before Christmas looking thing. Keegan-Michael Kay and Jordan Peele star as hellishly funny demons in a teen named Cat. Oh, sorry, to a teen named Cat, not in a teen named Cat. The stop-motion animated Netflix film is helmed by Nightmare Before Christmas Henry Selick. So yeah, it's actually literally the same director as A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay.
I'll be honest, I might have saved my Wicker Man for this had I known this was coming up, because I hate that movie. I hate Nightmare Before Christmas so much.
I like it. I think it's fine. But I mean, I wouldn't say I'm super excited for this.
Fair.
Obviously not a horror movie. It's a kids movie with horror themes, but
Sure.
fine.
Yeah. Which brings us to our final movie on this list, which is titled just simply X, and it is A24, produced and financed. It is Ty West.
Oh, okay. Sign me up.
Yeah, Ty West returning to the genre. Plot's been held secret, but it's going to revolve the making of an adult film starring Mia Goth, Kid Cudi, Jenna Ortega, and Brittany Stowe. So they're keeping the plot secret.
Okay.
But
I'm assuming it's horror enough to be on this list.
I mean, it says Ty West returning to horror, so
okay. Yeah. God, I mean, I don't think I don't think I hate any of his movies, but like House of the Devil is so damn good. It's become like a perennial rewatch for me every October. And I know all the stuff after that hasn't really lived up to it, but I still like it. So yeah, man, I'm really excited to see what he's gonna do. So this could potentially be pretty cool. And hey, adult film, maybe yeah, maybe if the horror ain't great, maybe we'll still get some something else that's good, if you know what I mean. I don't know, I've never seen an adult film, but I'm sure they're fun.
Tim, I don't believe it for even a fraction of a second. So as far as using my last must-streams, since I didn't, I'm going, rather than going for something like, I could give it to Nope, I could give it to I give it to The Northman, although we kind of agreed that maybe we're not sure if it's horror. So I'm going to go with just something that sounds kind of cool that I don't really know much about. So I'm going to go with Hatching, the egg one. Cool. just because it's weird enough that it's kind of interesting. So I'm going to throw my last mushrooms at that.
All right, I'll hold you to it.
Okay, we'll see. So there you go. Yes. Are you feeling positive about the year? Are you feeling positive about 2022?
Yeah, I mean, I think because even the bad ones on this list, they still sound like they
mostly
might be
interesting. Yeah,
I'm sure they'll have good discussions, and I was thinking about it, with the stuff that like you kind of know about, going through the year. It's all like the mainstream stuff. Like I'm sure, and usually a lot of the best like kind of hidden gems usually come from like some out of nowhere indie thing that like you hear about a month before it comes out. So I'm sure that this is just a tip of the iceberg. Like this is just the big studio stuff that we know is coming. I'm sure there'll be at least a few indie things that we'll stop start popping up around like festival seasons or whatever that will end up being really cool too. So
yeah, I mean,
I'm fairly positive.
I wouldn't call this just the mainstream stuff, just in the sense that there's stuff from A24 here, stuff from Neon, like like Bloody Disgusting, nowhere to look. But you're right in saying that there's a lot of stuff that isn't get a distributor yet. It's been made independently, and then it's kind of pops up throughout the year. Like, I mean, let's face it, this is a list of 31 movies, and we always see more than that in a year. So
yeah,
like there's going to be more. There'll be stuff to discover, and that's part of the fun of it. But yes,
but there's some potentially cool stuff. We're seeing some franchises return, for possibly better or worse, but
mostly worse.
Mostly worse. But we're seeing some directors that we like come back, so that's really cool.
Yeah,
and and again, I'm sure there'll be more stuff that'll pop up. One that I was surprised wasn't on this list, and I don't know if it got canceled or maybe if there's just not enough details about it.
What did it say?
Well, I just mean maybe it's not going
I was
through,
just cracking a dumb joke, Timmy.
I know, I liked it. It's a good joke. But the Dracula by Karen Kusama. I don't know if that's still on or if it's maybe.
I think it is
kind of up in the air.
I think it is. I think it's just not like this year. I think it's still too early for them to know it's this year.
I feel like we've heard about it long enough ago that it seems like if it was going to come out, it would be this year. But I mean, maybe it's just under wraps or there's just no updates yet. But that's one I am pretty excited about, though. I
mean, keep in mind a lot of things got delayed and pushed because of the pandemic, and things have slowed down. And
they even mentioned the Children of the Corn movie, which was like, I believe, the only movie that kept filming when everything else shut down.
I did a quick Google for you.
Okay.
Although the website's taking a bit of time to load. Jason Blum confirms that Karen Kusama's planned film is still in the works. This is from July, admittedly, so it's a wee bit of time since this article. But it is Blumhouse that's producing it, so I suspect you're still going to see it. It's just
cool.
But to be fair though, Blumhouse is pretty notorious for like not revealing a movie until it's about to come out in like a month, because they've done that before. They did a thing with like, I want to say like Unfriended 2 and like The Gallows 2, where they just kind of like, oh surprise, this movie's ready to come out, like it's, we've kept it a secret, like so I wouldn't be surprised if it still comes out this year, but I think it's just a case of like they don't know it's coming out this year, so they're
that makes sense,
they're hedging their bets. Yeah. I mean, that's a good question though. If there's any like stuff that they've left off, I mean, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but
I mean, you covered all the big ones. I mean, other than Dracula and Children of the Corn.
Children of the Corn.
Yeah. Remember they were making a new one and it was like the only one that was still filming during COVID?
Oh, that's right. It was like the first thing to film during... Yeah, you're right. Oh, that's so weird. Terrifier 2 is apparently coming out. I'll just say what I see because I've done a quick Google. Orphan First Kill. Is that Orphan?
Ooh, I'm actually excited for that.
I've never seen Orphan. We'll have to...
we'll have to do it, yeah.
Yeah, visit that.
I like Orphan.
Yeah.
Is that a William Brent Bell joint?
God. Apparently there's a new Jeepers Creepers movie coming out.
Oh yeah, no, not excited for that. No. I know. I think they're trying to redo like a new, like I think they're trying to reboot the movie, but without the, convicted pedophile guy. But I mean, I don't that series is just so tainted by that. It's like, we don't need. I don't think we need it.
Yeah, no, totally concur. But that's basically it. Some websites do count some really weird things as horror movies, like Doctor Strange 2. I mean, yeah.
I feel like they said like, oh, it's gonna be a horror movie in the Marvel universe, but they said that about the first one too, and it totally wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be great because it's Sam Raimi, but
honestly, out of the things that I just glanced at there when I searched for more horror from 2022, Terrifier 2 is actually one that I'm quite pumped for.
I'm excited for that. I
really like Terrifier. It was like a nice, just nasty slasher movie that came out of nowhere for me, and I was like, I'm I want more.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So, all right, there you go. That's just some of the horror films coming out in 2022. We'll see which ones we were right about, and do let us know what your 3 must screams and 1 Wicker Man. And the Wicker Man thing is not because Wicker Man's a bad movie. It's just because Wicker Man, you set it on fire is the idea.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Is there's no judgments being passed on either the original or the Nicolas Cage masterpiece. So. And
I just want to let people know the kind of the intention with these bonus episodes were that they're kind of going to be a little shorter. So I
Tim, I think you'll find if you go back and listen this back that there was multiple times where I tried to move on to the next movie and you
No, I mean that's totally fair, but I think it's the first one, and it's the start of the year, so we're talking there's a lot of movies to talk about, so naturally this one will be a little longer, where I think normally this will be probably more around like the half-hour mark. But I mean, every now and again though, when there's a lot to talk about, we'll go forward. But I'm glad though that we did this on a day where we weren't also doing a movie review, because I'd be very tired.
Oh yeah. Yes. Luckily for you all, we're recording a movie later in the week, so we didn't have to worry too much tonight. But yeah. Typically, I'd expect these to be about half the length of an actual Screams episode. So, but hey, yes. So yes, thank you for joining us. If you're getting this early, it means you're a patron. So thank you very much for being a patron and supporting us. If you're watching this for freeze, then there'll be more coming, and you can go to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV to check it out and support all the Screams After Midnight content, as well as all the other content that is on offer over there for other shows. Much like apparently the rival. I mean, I usually think of Screams and Ace as being sister shows, but Tim apparently sees it as a rivalry.
We'll see what the I look at the numbers.
Okay.
I don't.
So yeah, but that'll do it. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you like the idea of us sort of sitting down and casually having a chat. I mean, ultimately the idea behind this, more than anything, is for us to sit down and have a Screams episode where we didn't necessarily have to fit in a movie beforehand. That's basically the idea. Well, specifically for Tim, who's like, still got a baby.
Yeah, it gives me a little more free time, but also, still giving you something, so hopefully it's still entertaining. And also it's kind of nice to just have a place where we kind of run a gamut of different things. Like, it doesn't always necessarily have to be movies. Like maybe we can talk about some horror TV we're watching, or, if I just read a horror book, or, if I were to show off some of my horror collectibles, I can show Pete my Guillermo del Toro action figure or something, or lots of fun stuff we can do.
I'm not agreeing to that episode. That's not going to be an episode of this. Is Tim showing me his Guillermo del Toro action figures? I don't want it. So yeah. Yeah, so the idea is there'll be one, maybe 2 of these a month. The most common thing this will be is probably just us getting together and saying, okay, what horror movies have we watched in the last month? That's probably going to be the main format. But if there's like a big news thing drops where we feel like, we want to spend 20 minutes talking about that, then you get one of these for that, and so on and so on. Or like this, if there's like a seasonal reason to do a discussion, then you'll get one of those too. So
yeah,
that's the plan.
I know what season's coming up. St. Patrick's Day.
We've got, first of all, Valentine's Day is first. Second, I mean, it's bad enough that we're going to have to do the next Leprechaun movie in March. Okay, that's bad enough on of itself. So don't give me it. All right. So thank you for joining us, everyone. Hopefully you had some fun here. Usually in Patreon, Boris said I don't say like and subscribe and all that, but this one's also still going out to everyone, so I guess I'll say like, subscribe, ding the bell for notifications, all the usual things. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching scary movies, and we will see you next time.
Next, Tim.